already seen that starting a negotiation unprepared is not a good idea. I would like to reintroduce expert Katalien Bolle to you and ask her for some additional tips. So tell me, Katalien, what else should I know before I start a negotiation?
There are two important concepts that I want to introduce. One of them is BATNA, the other one is reservation value. BATNA refers to the best alternative to a negotiated agreement. A lot of words, I know. So actually it means, what is your plan B? Do you have an alternative when you do not come to an agreement here in this negotiation? It's very important to think about that and also to explore these options before you start a negotiation. Another thing that you need to consider is, who is my counterpart? Who is the opponent? Who is the other party in the negotiation? Do I want to negotiate with this person? How important is this person to me? That's also something important to consider. It's also important that you realize that this BATNA, it's not only important for you, but it's also important for the other party. So also think about the alternatives your other party might have. So this is actually an important thing to think about.
And the reservation value is linked to the BATNA, right?
Exactly. It's a number or a figure that you set into advance of a negotiation. It's actually the minimum that you want to receive and the maximum that you want to pay. And in that respect, it's also important to have this number because it protects you from giving in, from making stupid decisions by reacting under pressure.
Katalien, we've talked about numerous things. Can you help me put things in a logical order?
Then you refer to steps in the negotiation process?
That would be great.
Okay. Well, depending on how you look at it, there are 5 steps or 4 steps. The first step, we called often step 0, is a preparation phase. It's the phase in which you think about the BATNA, which we have introduced before, the reservation value, and also in the step or the phase in which you think about your interests. What is it what I really, really want? In this phase, you also think about the practical arrangements. When are we going to negotiate? Where are we going to negotiate? Make sure that both parties feel safe to have these negotiation conversations.
So step 0 is the preparation. Can you take me to step 1?
Step 1 refers to the exploratory step. In that step, you explore the interests of your counterpart, of the other person. What is it that he or she really wants? How do you do that? By asking questions, mainly by asking open questions. What, how, explain me, these kind of questions. And we have introduced a technique before that could help you. And that's the LSD technique. It's about listening, summarizing, and digging deeper by asking questions. So that's something that's very important. Another very important aspect in this step is to looking for options that may result in mutual gain. So the next step that I want to introduce is the second step. It's the negotiation step. So that's the most important or the really essential part of the negotiation process. It's a step in which we still use the LSD technique by asking questions and trying to find out what the other party really wants. As you try to do that, it might be also an emotional phase or emotional thing because people might get angry or a little bit disappointed. So it's very important not to get carried away by your emotions or the emotions of the other party. Another important thing to do in this step is to make use of objective criteria. Criteria that you use in order to see to what extent can we use this option in order to come to an agreement or not. The third step refers to the compromise step. In that step, you try to go already to some kind of solution. You try to make decisions together after having generated a lot of options or opportunities in the negotiation phase of negotiation step. Another important thing that you try to do in this compromise step, you try to maximize the value for all parties. That's something very important. If you have the feeling that one party benefits more than the other one, there might be something wrong. Then we go to the last step. The last and fourth step refers to the closure. When you have come to an agreement, ideally you write it down so that there is no mistake, there is no misunderstanding. It's right down on the paper. And ideally you also finish with a handshake and some eye contact.
Okay, that eye contact is important?
It's really important because when somebody is not able to look in your eye, it seems or it's a sign that this person is really not satisfied with some parts of the negotiated agreement.
Okay, Katalien, is there a golden egg in negotiating?
I'm afraid so. I cannot provide you with one magical question or one magical thing that you could use and have a really effective, successful negotiation. But if I could give you one tip, then it would be try to be curious. Try to be curious about your counterpart. What is it that drives this person? Why is this person sitting here? And really to be curious. Often when you are in a negotiation, you're a little bit stressed. You do not feel that well. It's like, and you are not likely to have a very positive idea about the other person. So often we feel a little bit like, I miss the other person. And so my tip would be, turn it around. Try to be really open. Change your mindset from competitive to a little bit more cooperative. And maybe to conclude with the words of Abraham Lincoln, I really do not like that man. I really must to get to know him better. I think that's something that you can take with you.
That's beautiful. And with those wise words from Abraham Lincoln, we can conclude this interview. Thank you so much, Katalin.
My pleasure.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
If you think that you've tried everything in a negotiation, never forget that there's always one last option. Can we watch Emily in Paris, Michiel? But I want to watch the Kardashians. But we've already seen it 2 times. But... You don't love me anymore. I feel so lonely in our relationship sometimes. Okay, sorry. We can watch the Kardashians, no problem. Oh, wow, thank you, honey. Oh, it wasn't that necessary, but okay.